Hi, I'm Terry Kimball, President and CEO here at the Chandler Chamber, and we have a fabulous Strategy for Success seminar here for you today. And we are so excited to have the team from concept to completion. Welcome, Mark, Katie, and Jillian. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, I love the topic that you're going to be talking about today, and social media is a cocktail party.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
So let me tell our viewers a little bit about your team, because you guys are pretty amazing. And so I want them to know a little bit about your background. So Mark Stewart has over 25 years of experience as a Fortune 50 leader through founding his own business. Mark has launched multiple brands from scratch and either has founded or co-founded 3 startups in electronics, sporting goods, and general consumer products. Mark has intimate understanding of marketing in the modern age, and having experience in retailers like Target, Walgreens, Walmart, Canadian Tire, Amazon, the list goes on and on. Mark can provide insight into common marketing and retail strategy. He currently serves as the Vice Mayor of the Chandler City Council and also represents the Job Creators Network as the Arizona State Ambassador. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Terry.
Well, let me jump to Jillian. Jillian Grammer helps small businesses grow a strong online presence that targets audiences who convert. She is committed to communicating a brand's unique value and story through organic and paid strategies. As the marketing content manager for concept to completion, she is responsible for the internal and external marketing content and execution duties. She creates, executes, and delivers marketing for concept to completion clients, including but just scratching the surface, whether it's social media, email, marketing, creative design, blog, video development, content creation, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, and any other social media entity. Jillian's that behind the scenes rock star. So welcome, Jillian.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Katie Shanahan also joins us. Katie graduated from the University of South Carolina with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration with a focus on marketing and management with an English minor. During her time at the University of South Carolina, Katie was a full-time athlete, and she represented the university at the Southeastern Conference in the NAA Division I level. Some of her accomplishment include the academic honor roll for 5 years in a row, the community service team, and also is a 2-time team captain. Love how you juggle things there, Katie. She also joins the concept to completion as a marketing coordinator after working at the Phoenix Children's Hospital Foundation, where she assisted with the social media. And she is a true social media junkie. I love it. Fantastic team you've got here, Mark.
They are wonderful, and they keep the ship pointed in the right direction. I got to tell you, if it wasn't for them, C2C would be floundering. So I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for the chamber as well. You guys are doing such amazing things.
I know. So tell me, what are we going to learn today? Who's going to take it away and drive this?
Well, Jillian's going to drive. I'm going to kind of open us up with a quick introduction about sort of what we can expect to learn from this event. So social media is a cocktail party. And what that means is you want to treat it like you would any cocktail party. Don't always talk about work. You can talk about it a little bit, but people really are interested in what makes you tick, what you're doing on the weekends, and about your family and other things like that. And so we'll dive into the various platforms, and we'll talk a little bit about each and how you can maximize your exposure, build your personal brand and business brand on those. But before we do that, I want everybody to get into the chat and drop their LinkedIn link in there, or drop their, especially their LinkedIn. And if there's emails or anything like that you guys want to trade, we'll make this a networking event too. So while you're listening to me, get your information in there. We should all be connected all the time. And you can follow us at Concept to Completion AZ on Facebook and Instagram, at Concept to Completion on LinkedIn, and on Twitter at To Completion. So that's where we're at. So we'll go to the next one here. So it's important to remember, and Jillian, keep me on track here. We're going to be trading off slides throughout this, so keep me on track on who takes what. But
yeah, I'll go ahead. Okay. So It's important to start our conversation acknowledging that not every platform is created equal. And what I mean by this is your audience demographic, your tone of voice, the type of content you'll post, how often you post. It's all going to vary and be different on each social media platform. And we'll break down each of these platforms in this presentation. But before we get into that, I just want to note that not every business needs to be on every single one of these platforms. And my personal tip, especially if you're a one-person show running your business's social media, is not to spread yourself too thin and be on every channel imaginable. Instead, focus on 2 to 3 of these platforms that make sense for your industry and do it well. So let's take a look at consumer behavior. Now, this is important because ultimately we want to give the people what they want. So knowing what your audience wants to see from you helps in crafting messaging and content. So first, let's start with this study on the left. This is simply asking consumers what they want from a brand. And this study is in general, not just on social media. But people responded with being a positive contributor to our society, connecting with consumers, using their power to help people, and so on. But the one I want to focus here is connecting with the consumer. Because if you look over here on the right, you'll see that consumers rank which channels give brands the best opportunity to connect. They ranked social media as number 1. Now, when consumers feel connected to a brand, they're 76% more likely to buy your product or service over a competitor, 68% more likely to recommend your brand to a friend, 64% they're more likely to be loyal to your brand or business. Now that we've established that what consumers want from a brand, and how to connect with them, and that social media is the number 1 opportunity to connect with them, and the reaping benefits of doing so, how do we create that connection? 55% responded, if we're looking at this graph here on the bottom left, 55% responded with simply liking or responding to consumers online is a way to create that connection. 45% responded with showcasing your brand personality. 45% also reported showing a cause the consumer personally supports. So try implementing a few of these behaviors to create that community and to create that personal connection with your audience.
Hey, Jillian, there's an old story that I use from time to time. It's I have a friend who owns a butcher shop in St. Louis, Missouri, and so we were talking about social media and using it effectively. And it's almost like when somebody like pokes their head in your door, if they like communicate on any of your platforms as a business owner, and they look in and they just check out your store to see what it's like, you would never ignore them. If they came in, you would always say something to them. So if somebody likes your post or makes a comment on your post, or even on your Google review, always make an effort to reach out to them and communicate with them. It's just like you would do in person. So I just want to share that story. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think don't forget to respond. If someone is taking the time out of their day to leave their comment, leave their thoughts on one of your posts, just take a few minutes and respond. It shows that as a business that you care and that you're engaging with your consumers and that you care what they have to say. So here's another interesting graph showing the tone that consumers want brands to have on social media. So our top 3 here are honest, friendly, and helpful. Okay, so at this point, it's important to point out that not one of these studies has shown that consumers want brands to be salesy and come across as salesy on social media. While social media can definitely be used to convert and to make that sale, your main goal and marketer's main goal, if you can see on the bottom right here, is to increase brand awareness. This is because the average person spends nearly 2 hours on social media a day, and therefore social media is one of the best places to grab consumers' attention. Mine is definitely more than 2 hours. Okay, so let's dive into the different types of content that you see on social media daily and that you can implement into your content marketing strategy. So there's 4 main types. There's entertaining, educational, inspirational, and conversational. So we'll go into examples of each one of these. For entertaining, this could be posting about fun and national holidays that make sense to your business. You can share viral videos, a joke or meme. You could also do contest and giveaway. That's a really great way to boost your content on social media. And also just a fun Throwback Thursday as an entertaining post. For educational content, you're sharing value with your audience. You can share tips and tricks. You can answer frequently asked questions, maybe about your product or service that's informing people. Industry research, we do this one all the time, simply sharing popular articles, trending articles in your industry and providing your thought leadership with it is a really easy way to knock this educational piece out of the park. You can also share blog posts that not only like your business has written, but others have written. Case studies, you could share free resources, a live video training like this one, and infographics. For inspirational type of content, you could share quotes, facts, and trivia. This could just be beautiful images that maybe are inspiring. If you're like Airbnb type of company, that would make sense. Personal stories of your clients. I would definitely recommend that everyone, no matter what business you're in, shares personal stories, shares your reviews, and what your clients are saying about your product or service. And then we have conversational. So you can ask questions to your audience. You could do a fill in the blank. You can ask for advice. You could do a caption this photo. That's just a trend, just showing like a fun image and saying, what would you caption this photo? Just anything to encourage engagement on your social media posts is conversational. You could also do a poll. You could do the poll feature on Facebook, or you could do the poll option on Instagram stories. And again, here's a statistic that just really proves that about being salesy and that you shouldn't be doing that as a business. 45% of consumers unfollow brands because of irrelevant content or too many ads from the brand. Remember, at the end of the day, social media is social. It's supposed to be engaging and fun. It's not always about, making that sale and promoting your product or service. Have fun with it and actually think, what kind of value can you provide your audience?
I really want to draw at that point, Jillian, that you're making there, because it's so important to remember that. And I see all too often businesses are out there and they're trying to convert and they're trying to get sales from there, and it absolutely backfires. And what people end up doing, unfortunately, is unfollowing. And you can tell when a business is trying to be too salesy, or they're trying to connect with you only because they're interested in doing business. The purpose of social media is just like you would do with any storytelling at a cocktail party, right? You just want to be engaging. You want to be entertaining. You want to be interested in the other party more than you're interested in yourself. And so if you can practice that as you're communicating on social media, and don't talk too much, right? I mean, that person at this party that just can't stop talking. Well, that's what people think about you if you're posting 6, 7, 8 times a week on Facebook, and it's only about your business and it's not about anything engaging. So stay engaging, and always remember, and I'm going to say this a couple times throughout this, is give, 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 give. You are on social media to share information, to give your intellectual property away, and to connect with your consumers and provide value. That's it.
Yeah, I think also at the end of the day, just think, if I was the consumer, why would I want to follow this brand on social media? Not a lot of people. I mean, think about how many brands you actually follow on social media. It's probably, you can count them on your hands. So think about what kind of, like Mark said, give valuable content, give entertaining, conversational, make it a fun place to be. So let's put that content into action for each of those 4 categories. So entertaining, inspirational, conversational, and educational. These are all examples of clients of ours. So for entertaining, the Don McDowell show is a radio show. And so they post a lot of videos from their live radio show recording. And it's just fun, entertaining content. People really love to engage with it. And we also have them on TikTok, but that is a great example of entertaining. Is, for example, this one is sharing a dad joke. So that's just something that they do on their show and makes sense for their business. For inspirational, this is Bump Fitness Club. So this one is a pregnant, soon-to-be mother working out in her 3rd trimester, and it's kind of just showing people that she's able to look what she's able to do in her 3rd trimester, and she's working so hard. So that's definitely an inspirational piece of content. Conversational, we have New Square Chandler. This was when we were promoting Distillery's opening. So what we did here was we took 4 of their most popular menu items, and we just simply asked people, which one of these would you pick? And it's something so simple, and you're just asking people to comment a letter, A, B, C, or D, and it blew up. People, like, it's just something so easy, and it's someone's preference of what they like to eat. Like, it's fun and simple.
The cool part of that one is the reach that it attained without even boosting. And so if you're not familiar with boosting, ping us in the chat and we'll fill you in. But we did not put any advertising dollars behind that, and still were able to reach 4,500 people. That's an engaging piece of content.
Exactly. And then lastly, we have educational. And so this is Sonora and Smile Orthodontics. For this, we were educating people on what the braces application process looked like. So we had a time-lapse video showing people kind of a behind-the-scenes look of what the braces application looks like. And again, this one blew up. People really liked seeing this side, and it was just like a fun 45-second video of the process. Okay, now Katie's going to take a deep dive into Facebook, Instagram, and then we'll go into LinkedIn and a few other platforms.
Yeah, so Facebook is just like a cocktail party. Ask people about their favorite subjects. Get them involved in a conversation like Jillian was talking about. The key word is them. Only talk about work if they ask. Don't initiate the conversation about work unless they bring that conversation to you. A BuzzMo study that analyzed over 777 million Facebook posts found that video performed better than all types of Facebook posts. We always talk about that video is king, and Facebook it absolutely is. On an average, a video post on Facebook gets at least 59% more engagement. That's huge. Also, the most common reactions to top Facebook videos are love and haha. So the most common reactions on Facebook are like haha, wow, love, sad, or angry. Those are the different options you have. So as you can see from the chart, haha and love are the 2 most popular. Also, people are interacting with content that they find funny or inspirational, or a mix of both. I know there have been multiple times on Facebook, especially this past week with the US Olympic trials for different sports going on, seeing athletes make the team for the first time. Very inspirational. Always give those videos a love, at least for me personally. Inspirational, funny, and practical content generates the most engagement. Just like Jillian talked about, all those different types, like people want to be engaged with, especially like the New Square post, perfect example. People like want to say like, oh, I really like mac and cheese, or no, the pretzel bun's my favorite. It's just really all about them and what they want to see. Always keep testing what works and what doesn't work for your audience. We do that a lot. And know what works and what doesn't work. And then that way you can like shift your content creation and go with the trend of what is working best for you.
Mark, I think you're on mute.
That means we're still learning here. I want to add to that because it's so important to test your content. And so a very easy way to do that is to look at your analytics on Facebook or on Instagram and look at what posts are performing. Your audience will tell you what's good content, and you'll see Like we know that like the slide before where we talked about the 4 different dishes at Stillery, we know that's a popular post. So we're going to run that again. We'll also run that for other clients in a different, obviously in a different theme, but because we know that works, we're going to continue to do that. And each business will be different. So try things out. Here's the great thing about content creation. If your cadence is normal, right? If your cadence isn't overbearing, you're not asking for business, nobody's going to see a bad post anyway. So don't get that concerned about it, because if it doesn't catch the algorithm for Facebook or Instagram and start showing to a lot of people, you don't have to worry about content being bad. Just start practicing, getting stuff out there and creating cadence that people can count on. Thanks.
Twitter. So tweeting, we're going to break down what it is, a tweet or a retweet. So tweeting is like shouting out the window about what you think. Retweets, we classify them as shouting out the window exactly the way someone else shouted it. So some business facts about Twitter: 75% of businesses are on Twitter. Super short, you can just kind of get a blurb out. 33% of Twitter users follow a brand. I know for me, some popular ones that I follow are Nike, Under Armour, stuff like that. And then some more, 200% engagement is 200% higher for tweets with image links. People want to go see what those images are. It's just another way to get people engaged and interact. Most people are 21% likely to respond to a question. So tweet questions, just kind of like we did with Distillery, which one's your favorite, A, B, C, or D? Mark talked about. We adapt that type of content for different clients depending on like what they're selling or what their services are. So just adapt it for what your business does. 86% of retweets, 86% retweet rate for tweets that contain links. Again, another way just to engage your consumers. Engagements are 17% higher for tweets with less than 100 characters. Twitter is all about just being super short to the point, sweet, concise. That's what performs best.
Here's the quick thing about some of those stats too, as it relates to brand. There's 2 brands that can be developed on Twitter. There's thought leadership branding, which is your personal branding. It's important to be conscious of what you're putting out there as it relates to how it affects your brand and how it affects your business. But on top of that, Twitter is the best way to flatter somebody that you're interested in having them follow you, or somebody that you're interested in connecting with. So being active on Twitter is super easy. It doesn't take much time. It's a great way to connect with folks that might be in your space that you may want to be in their network, or they may want to be in yours, just by retweeting their content that you agree with, or by liking their content and things like that. So Twitter is just something you just want to sort of passively be a part of. And it's just like a cocktail party, right? There's nothing better than asking people what they think about a subject and then sitting back and listening. And that's what Twitter can be used for.
Mm-hmm. So some content ideas for Twitter: ask questions, just like Mark said. People like answering questions. Industry news, brand announcements, GIFs/memes, those are really popular. Promo code /flash sales, blog content, events, trending topics and hashtag, tease launches and polls. Just get people involved. A lot of the time things will go viral on Twitter if, especially with GIFs and memes, people just like to laugh if it's lighthearted and funny. Some C2C tips for Twitter business: limit 1 to 2 hashtags per tweet. You have limited character space, so don't overload your tweet with hashtags. Be conversational, get people involved, ask questions, answer questions. Keep your copy short and sweet. Like I said, you have a max of 280 characters, so short, sweet, to the point, concise. Use images, GIFs, or videos whenever possible, especially since it goes back to image links, the 200% engagement with image links. Monitor events and trending conversations, and use a clear call to action, especially if you are doing like a promo code or a flash sale. Just be like, here it is, short and sweet. That's the key for Twitter, short and sweet. Users on Twitter tweet images 361% more than they tweet videos, and images alone tend to get 128% more retweets than videos. So just something to note for the future too.
Yeah, use images. It's important.
Instagram's personally my favorite. I don't know about anyone else, but lots of pictures and stories. Give people a glimpse into the back room. That's something we do a lot. how I do what I do, and then put it on Facebook stories too. It's super easy nowadays. You can connect the two. So if you post to Instagram stories, it can automatically post to Facebook stories as well. Some of our favorites, especially with Instagram, is all about shareable content. We truly try at C2C to do shares, saves. Those are the two main engagements we try and get. So some that are really popular that have worked for us are behind the scenes. Inspiring quotes perform really well. Community involvement and how-to/tips and tricks are huge for us. We do a lot of inspiring quotes for Bump Fitness, and those always perform really well. Increase engagement. So carousels, videos, just like on Facebook, Instagram Reels are huge, along with IGTV for longer videos. So stay on top of Instagram changes and updates, example, IGTV and Reels. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jillian, Reels are 30 seconds.
Yes, they can be 15 or 30 seconds.
And then IGTV is anything longer than that.
Yeah, and I also just want to emphasize the importance of staying on top of Instagram changes and updates. A lot of people will complain and say that, oh, my posts aren't doing well anymore, like the algorithm is changing. And the algorithm doesn't change, the way that people use the app is changing. So stay up to date with Reels. Reels are really popular. I've seen great growth on Reels. Just try the new updates that Instagram releases, because Instagram will favorite your account and push your content out to other people if you use their new features. That's just how it works. So try using their new features, especially Reels and the story options. They always release new features on there. So just, again, have fun with it and try out their new updates and features.
Yeah, the reason for those changes, you're going to see it on, you're seeing it a little bit on Facebook as well, is everybody's starting to chase TikTok. TikTok's been taking a lot of market share, and what I mean by market share is they're literally capturing screen time market share. So people are migrating over to TikTok faster than you can believe. And so what Instagram and Facebook are trying to do is capture that behavior. And I'll just say it, they're just mimicking what TikTok has created, and they're doing a good job of it too. So it's just another, Jillian's right. You definitely need to craft your content to fit Reels and to Instagram TV. And it's a good way for you to showcase your brand. And as we talked about earlier, creating engaging content that's not asking for anything, but providing content.
Absolutely. And Instagram stories are another way where you can get people involved too. Like Jillian talked about, the poll option's really big. If you can answer questions one day. If you know you're going to have some downtime, you can do ask us anything and then spend the day answering those questions. Because more often than not, people have the same question. So if you get people to ask those questions and then you answer them, you'll most likely get more people.
Also, I just want to give a quick tip here. If no one's asking you questions, that's okay. You can ask yourself questions, because it doesn't show who's asked the question. So just ask what you think people want to know and answer it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Great tip, Jillian. So LinkedIn, this is a virtual trade show. Look around, be a thought leader. We talked about being a thought leader in Twitter. LinkedIn's another place where you can do it. Show confidence and network with folks. But don't talk about politics, no family pictures or grammar shots. Boring's better. So some examples of what to post are job and career info, company news, along with professional content. LinkedIn is the second most favorable content channel for sharing business related content, with the first being email.
I want to, well, keep going on the LinkedIn here. And then at the end, I'm going to share some really good tips for LinkedIn for personal branding. Go ahead.
Okay, so we talk about connecting your personal brand to drive people to your business page. Your personal brand is a mix between how others see you and how you see yourself. It's somewhere in that sweet spot in the middle. So build a strong personal LinkedIn profile that links back to your business page. It's just another way to drive people to your business page. Just like posting on your business page, if you say that, oh, I work at this, people will most likely click it and go to that page. Make sure to keep both your personal and business profile up to date. This is super important. If something major happens, within your business and you share it on your business, make sure you mention it on your personal profile. Be like, hey, check it out. Look what we've done, or look what just happened recently. When your business does something extraordinary, exactly, share it to your personal page. Personal branding allows you to expand communicating your business's message to the right people. So it's all about your network, and make sure your personal brand aligns with your business's brand to help you build credibility. Credibility is huge, especially on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been finding, and especially in the past year, as we, coming out of COVID and during COVID, during the peak of COVID last year, I found that activity and communication on LinkedIn really started to peak. And we've got a couple of clients that we work on personal branding for. And so I'll give you a quick example of if you're an owner of a business, or if you're a leader within a business, in the C-suite or whatever, it's important that you start to share your thought leadership on LinkedIn. And what that can be as easy as something as finding an article that's in your space, or finding an article that has to do with business, and then making a comment about that article. Obviously, you want to read the article first, but you want to make a comment about that article and how it affects your ecosystem. And what people will do is they'll start to engage with you on a business to business thing. So as it relates to being in a cocktail party, this is a work cocktail party, right? This is somebody that's a leader in their space, sharing content or information about their space with other people that may be affiliated with their space. So think about LinkedIn as a way, like we said earlier, about connecting your personal brand to your business brand. And you're constantly going to want to link your business in your posts and things like that. And LinkedIn is one of those platforms that it takes a little time for your post to sort of get energy. And posting once a week on LinkedIn is more than enough. If you carve out 10 minutes a week to really focus on your LinkedIn, I'll give you a real quick example. We've got one client that we do posts for about every other week or so. The last 2 posts that we've done for this person has garnered him 5,000 views within his network, has increased his overall followers by like hundreds, just because that person's sharing thought leadership about a particular industry. And he's becoming known within channels that he was never known before. And so it's just something to be mindful of. So that person shares their thought content with us. We post that for them, and we sort of nurture that content by doing some social listening and things to that. So it's been huge for this particular business owner. It can be huge for you.
Before we move on, I just want to emphasize the importance of keeping your LinkedIn profile updated. And the reason being is that LinkedIn has a lot of SEO power, meaning that even if you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile in like 5 years, you made it and then you forgot about it, when you type someone's name in to Google, it's often the first thing that comes up on search results. So just take 5-10 minutes and make sure everything is updated. If a potential business partner or someone if you're looking for like a new job or anything, just make sure that it's updated.
Yeah. Just me?
Yes.
All right, great. So, hey, so we'll talk about these other items here real quick. These are different platforms. There's so many platforms out there right now. There's Yelp, there's Pinterest, there's TikTok is hot, there's Snapchat. I'll buzz through this real quick. Pinterest is a really popular app if you're like if you sell products online, tangible things. Maybe you have a small business that maybe you sell shoes, or maybe you are a chef or something like that. Pinterest is a way for you to share content with folks that love to see pictures. And believe it or not, we've got one client that we use Pinterest for. They're in the home remodeling business. And Pinterest is one of the biggest drivers to their website that we have of all our social media platform. People are just interested in seeing more. So if you're an HGTV watcher, Pinterest is one of those places that you can go and look at housewares content, chef content, food content, things like that. So use Pinterest wisely. It can actually work for you. The great thing about Pinterest is you can schedule your pins. So you don't have to do it, every time you sit down or 5 times a week. You can schedule those all out. Make sure you use hashtags, and then link your pin to your descriptions. So it's an important way to drive people back to your content. TikTok right now is all about trends, and it's all about being real. It's about picking up your phone and doing content creation. Creating hashtag challenges. User created content is huge. So if you're in a business and you have, I'm just thinking, I always go back to restaurants, but don't be afraid to do events within your restaurant that you can show on TikTok right away in real time, and create a little bit of a cadence. Here's the great thing about TikTok, going back to what I said earlier. If the content's horrible, nobody's going to see it anyway. If it's great, and you may do 10 TikToks before you hit that one real glimpse, that behind the scenes, real human effect, where you get something in real time, where somebody does something funny or somebody says something funny, and it goes viral. Well, that's going to be huge for your brand. And the other thing about TikTok is I think it creates the opportunity to be an influencer, even if you're an influencer for your particular business. Again, you're not selling. You're just giving people a glimpse of what your day-to-day life is like within your business. I was looking at a TikTok the other day of a guy that was scraping weeds back from a corner of a street with a bulldozer. That was his job. And he had a little video on his thing, and he put it in time lapse. And it was like the most fascinating thing that I'd watched. So then I went and watched 2 or 3 more videos of him clearing weeds with a bulldozer, which I never even knew you could do. And then I go and look at his profile, and it's his business. That's what he does. So he goes out in country roads. And so it's been a great way for him to basically share good content with people. And I think he's probably driving tons of business, not for me, but for other people that are watching his stuff. TikTok advertising is huge, and it's great for building branded lenses as you get a little bit more accustomed to using. And then you have Snapchat. So if your business is focused, let's say you have a bounce house or something like that, Snapchat is a great place for you to advertise. The content ideas, again, it's like TikTok. It's going behind the scenes, showing off your products, and then you can create sponsored geo filters and things like that. So the great thing about all these is that when you're doing Instagram stories and when you're doing Snapchat stories or when you're doing TikTok events, you're basically giving people a glimpse into your back room, and you're creating content that connects with them. I know it seems like a lot, but I think if you put the positive spin on this, social media has given small businesses, medium-sized businesses, the ability to get in people's living rooms, which they've never had the opportunity to be before. So if you take your advertising dollar, traditional advertising dollars, and start pointing a little bit of those towards social media, I think you'll see incredible results. Because remember, we can't be on TV. Most of the people that are watching this today, we can't buy a television advertising. We could probably not even buy radio advertising. What we can do is spend a few $100s on Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, things like that in order to build our brand online and get market share. So we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah,
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, that's a great point. I just think social media is just so much more cost effective than traditional marketing. So you can even do well with just organic posts, but if you look at ad spend, traditional marketing versus social media, you can get a lot more bang for your buck on social media platform advertising.
Yeah, and don't forget about YouTube. We gotta throw YouTube in our next deck for this thing, because YouTube is blowing up as well. So here's the deal, and this goes back to the cocktail party thing. What not to post, right? So we want to have that. You've got to have that give mentality on social media. Give your content away. Give your intellectual property. It's like what we're doing right now, right? I'm just sharing what I know. Jillian's sharing what she knows. And it's one of those things where if you're giving away your content, people will appreciate it. And you're not giving away something you're going to sell anyway. I mean, Katie will tell you, I mean, it's one of those things where people appreciate you and they keep coming back for more. So don't sell. Don't try to do promotions, because that's saley. I know it seems like, oh, it makes sense. I'll do a 15% off, or no, people don't want to see that. When they're on Facebook or when they're scrolling on Instagram, they just want to see engaging content that entertains them. They don't want to be sold to. And stay away from irrelevant content, right? Stay away from politics if you can, because at the end of the day, obviously that's going to affect your business. I know of businesses that have posted about politics that have struggled, because, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle that you're on, or even if you're in the middle, When you start making comments, you're alienating somebody. And that's the unfortunate thing about the political world that we're in today. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. So just stay away from it. That's the hugest no-no that's out there. And I think the other thing is being inconsistent with your branding. For example, if you have, and that's even with your personal brand, use the same profile picture on all your different social media platforms. Make sure you have a digital friendly logo for social media that you're using on all your platforms. Make sure you're using the same banner on LinkedIn that you're using on Facebook, et cetera. Now you can change those out from time to time, but stay brand consistent so that people know when they see you, they can count on you and they can count on your brand to look the same. So we'll go to the next slide.
Real quick, I just want to add that if you're confused on what to post as far as salesy and like fun type of content, you could follow the 70-30 rule. And basically what that means is 70% is fun, engaging content, valuable content, and 30% is salesy. I would actually make that percentage a little bit lower than 30%. I would just throw in sales and promotions, and you could still mention your product and service, of course. There's other ways to do that, but I would maybe do like 20% sales and stuff, but keep majority of it engaging, valuable content, shareable content.
Good point. So again, give, and then ask, right? And so I'm a believer, and I agree with Jillian, I'm a believer that will come back to you. People will start asking you for business and they'll start recognizing your brand and you'll be at the tip of their tongue. So learn how to promote your business without talking about it. And if you're taking screenshots, this is the one you want to take and tape to your bulletin board. Find content that your followers want to see, right? And you'll learn that from looking at your analytics. Make sure you don't ask for business. That's the biggest no-no out here. If you haven't picked that up yet, just like if you're at a cocktail party, you would not ask somebody to buy something from you, even if it were for sale. If you were selling a car, your personal car, you may mention that my car's for sale, right? But it would be up to them to sort of follow through on that. You wouldn't say, hey, buy my car, buy my car. You just wouldn't do that. And you have to ask yourself, are you posting for you? We run into this with some of our clients from time to time. Very, very few, but it occasionally happens where they want us to post for their business. They don't necessarily want to post for their audience. You need to be 100% audience centric in your posting, and that will come back to you tenfold. And be a thought leader through your social media content creation. So that I can't speak about enough, especially if you're in leadership. Be a thought leader in your space. People appreciate that. And they want to know what makes you tick. So that is it. And so, one of the great things about this particular event and this particular discussion is that it really sparks a lot of questions with folks. So either leave them in the chat and Terry will get those to us, but make sure you connect with one another. This is a networking event, so you can connect with us. You can ask us questions offline if you'd like to, and we'll go from there. So Terry, how you doing?
I got questions for you.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Wow. I was writing. You guys all three of you were phenomenal. Great insight. Okay, a couple of things. You spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, and it's interesting. One of the other things that I would also recommend regarding that engagement is you get notifications on when somebody has changed jobs, reaching out to congratulate them, also double checking to see where they're at. You never know, that could be a potential business that you want to get into, or that's another really good way to stay on top of things and just congratulate them and, make them feel good. Switching jobs is scary, and it's fun, it's scary, all in the same realm. Comments?
No, you're absolutely right. There's so many things, and LinkedIn's one of those passive activities that you can do to stay connected with people in your space. And again, just following somebody that you admire and liking their content will raise your name up in the top of their brain from time to time. So maybe the next time you see them at a chamber event, right, they'll remember that you connected with their brand. They'll remember that you connected with them. Even if and the best thing to do is make a comment on one of their posts. They won't forget that. And it's a great way for you to stay connected, just like you would with any friend. So use LinkedIn to your advantage, and use it as a networking tool. That's what it's for. Elevate your brand within that, and I think you'll see dividends for elevating your personal brand.
So one of the other things that that Mark, I think you said when you were talking about Twitter, flatter those who follow you. So talk a little bit more in depth, because on Twitter, yes, you can love things or reshare it, but are you talking about posting, actually commenting, or is it just
Well, a little bit of both. So, I've got multiple Twitters, and they're for each different, like I've got a personal Twitter where I like to I'll communicate, I'll tweet at NBA and TNT, right? Because I love Barkley and all those guys, and Shaq, and I'll tweet at them sometimes. And I do that for fun. I've never been retweeted, but I do it. For my business, for C2C, I put out content that other people might enjoy, and that's that give mentality.
Mhm.
For my role as a vice mayor, though, I put out content about the city. I put out content of things that are going on, and I try to share sort of information so people that are interested in what's going on in the city or in the county will follow me for. So, but I will comment on the chamber's posts. I'll comment on the ACA's post. I'm really big into economic development, so I will post on things that I think create opportunity, and that's part of my personal brand as it relates to my Twitter. And even though I'm in politics, I guess, and city council is not really politics, but even though I'm in politics, I rarely post about politics. I post about our community and the people that are in it, because that's important to me.
Great. So one of you, actually a couple of you have talked about at different times about the hashtag. And on Twitter, you said only do 2 or 3 hashtags. But what about on Facebook and the other mediums?
I'll give this one to Jay. She knows this one.
Yeah, so for Instagram, I would definitely use all 30. That's how many you're allowed to have. And
Okay.
I take advantage of that. Kind of think of it as the lottery. The more chances you have to be discovered, use it. You have 30 opportunities for someone to discover you. So use all the hashtags that you can on Instagram. On Facebook, I would use super general, broad hashtags. I would use no more than 10. I would use like 5. Just keep it, again, super broad, something that has a lot of impressions already on it. And then LinkedIn, I would use about the same. I would use like 3 to 5. And then Pinterest, you can also use hashtags for more discoverability on there as well.
TikTok, you want to use trend hashtags too. So
Yeah.
whatever's trending right then, you want to add that to it may not have anything to do with what you posted, but it's something that will pop up because it's a trend at that time.
Right. Okay. I thought that deserved a little bit more clarification, because it's all over the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that not all of our viewers know on Instagram what a carousel is or a reel. Could you just dial back that a little bit? Just give them a little bit of explanation. They may be new to Instagram.
Yeah, so a carousel is just a multi-photo post. So having more than one photo in your post is a carousel, where you're able to swipe and look at the other images. Those are really great for keeping people engaged, because Instagram's algorithm is marking down that people are spending more time looking at your post. If they're spending time scrolling through your photos, they're spending more time looking at your caption, because it's a really well thought out caption. So carousels are a great way to show, if you want to show multiple images, or to also get that engagement up. A reel, those are newer to Instagram. It's like Mark mentioned before, it's kind of a spinoff of TikTok. They're trying to stay, up to date with the times and the trends. So they introduced reels, and they're just short form videos. So they could be 15 to 30-second videos, and they're just super quick. They could be fun or educational videos for Instagram.
Well, and I'm hooked on Instagram TV right now. It's, I mean, I'm on there. In fact, my husband will say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He said, "What are you watching now?"
And with Instagram TV too, that's another great way to share thought leadership. Our Bump Fitness Club, Dr. Natasha, we do like IGTVs for her where she just talks about why it's important to have a prenatal fitness trainer and like what the difference is. And we use those for her as an education, for an educational content, and those perform really well because it's not something that most people know, like why you should have a prenatal fitness trainer or just like different like other tips and stuff, but we use those a lot too.
Wow, great information. I always learn something new when I talk to the three of you here. I think I'm on top of things, and then you guys always prove me wrong.
Yeah, the social media is here to stay. Obviously, that is as an understatement to say the least, but it's here to stay. You know, and there's no better time to plant that tree to build your brand if you haven't already online and getting accustomed to that. And you know, obviously, if you need help, we are here to support you, and we provide you know, free consultations and we give advice. We do SEO background checks and things like that for free. We just want to help everybody the best we can, and that's how we kind of give back. And then if that turns into business for us, so be it. But we enjoy this, and Terry, we're just grateful to be able to share some of this content with you.
Well, and thank you so much because, you know, having a small business, our small business owners, they're sometimes just busy running the business. And to stay on top of this and be able to have those experts in that industry, we truly appreciate your efforts and your team and I love learning more from you. I'm kind of like an education junkie.
That's awesome. That's great.
So, all right. Well, again, thank you again for joining us. Concept to completion, how to connect with them is right up on the screen. So feel free to do that. And if you've got more questions, keep them coming and we'll make sure that we get them to the team to get back to you. Mark, Katie, Jillian, thanks again for joining us. So
Thanks,
love
Terry.
our conversations.
Thanks so much. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.